Keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure, here we are with the remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning to all students. Welcome, students. So, our topic for today's history session is Janapadas and Mahajanapadas under chapter 6. So, let's begin our today's session with Janapadas. So, the period between 1000 BC to 600 BC is known as the post Vedic period. In this post-Vedic period, Janapadas started forming. Now you must be thinking, what are these Janapadas? So children, first see that this word Janapadas is made up of two words, Jana, which means people, and Pada, which means foot. So these Janapadas are the places where people kept their feet, or we can say that it is a land taken by people for settled for settling down. So in these ways, these Janapadas uh, were the small states or kingdoms that spread from today's Afghanistan, which is in northwest, which we will see it into the map, and some part is in Bengal and Odisha in the east. A Janapada, which is known as Ashmak, occupied a part of Maharashtra also. So, how we come to know about these Janapadas? Their name is mentioned in Sanskrit, Pali, and Ardh Magadhi literature, and also in the Jain and Buddhist text. Some Janpadas were monarchies. It means these Janpadas were ruled by a single king or monarch. Some Janpadas were republics, which mean that they were ruled by the representatives of people. So the Janpadas, which were republic, had Gana Parishad or Sangha of senior citizens. And all these members of Gana Parishad came together and discussed different issues related to the administration of their area and made decisions regarding the issues and problems. So, the place where such discussions used to take place was known as Sant Gara. Gautam Buddha belongs to Shakya republics, a Janapada, and he was also known as Shakya Muni. And students, every Janpada had its own coinage. It means that all the Janpadas used to have their own metal money or coins with different symbols punched on it. You can see these coins in the picture of different Mahajanpadas. Okay, so next move forward and see now what are Mahajanpadas. As you know that Maha means big. So some Janpadas became stronger and powerful with the passage of time and they expanded their geographical boundaries. They expanded their area. And later these Janpadas came to be known as Mahajanpadas. From the literature of post-Vedic period, it is clear that there were 16 Mahajanpadas in 6th century BCE. And among these 16, 4 Mahajanpadas became more powerful. They were Kosala, Vatsa, Avanti, and Magadha. Let's study about them in detail. First is Kosala. So student, Kosala Mahajanpada was located in the foothills of Himalayas in the region of Uttar Pradesh and Nepal on the border of these two areas. Shravasti was the capital of Kosala and the famous cities of Kosala were Shravasti, Kushavati and Saket. Gautam Buddha had lived in the famous Vihara Jetwan at Shravasti for a long time. The Kosala king Prasenjit was a contemporary of Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavir. It means he belongs to the same time of Buddha and Mahavira. Later, the state of Kosala merged with Magadha. So in this way, the territory of Magdha started expanding. Next is Vatsa. The Mahajanpada Vatsa was located in the region around Prayag, that is in Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. Kosam was the capital of Vatsa. Okay, and this Kosam was in the ancient city of Kosambhi. It was an important center of trade, and three extremely rich merchants, traders of Kosambhi had built three viharas for Gautam Buddha and his followers. King Udyana of Vatsa was also the contemporary of Gautam Buddha. After Udyana, the state of Vatsa could not maintain its independent existence. It means maybe the Udyana was the last powerful king, and after him, the king of Avanti, he conquered this state of Vatsa and merged him into Avanti. So Avanti is located at Malwa region, Madhya Pradesh, and Ujjaini was the capital of Avanti. It was also an important trade center at that time. The king of Avanti, Pradyot, was also belonging to the same time of Buddha and Mahavira. During his rule, during the rule of Nandi Vardhan, the state of Avanti was merged into Magdha. So you can see that how Magdha was growing into a bigger and bigger Mahajanpada, or it was taking the form of a big empire. Magdha, which is located at Gaya, Patna in Bihar, and some regions in Bengal also. So the capital of Magdha was Rajgriha, and today its name is Rajgir. King Bimbisara's palace in Magdha was built by an architect Mahagovind. And a very famous physician Jivaka was also at the court of Bimbisara. Bimbisara had become a follower of Gautam Buddha. Now we will see who was Bimbisara. But before that, let's see all these Mahajanpadas on Indian map. See, here is Gandhara, Kamboj, Avanti, we talked about, Ashmaka, Vatsa, Magadha. So all these 16 Mahajanpadas. Rise of the Magadha Empire. Ajat Shatru, the son of Bimbisara. See, we talked about Bimbisara of Magadha. So Ajat Shatru was his son. So after his father, he continued to expand Magadha Empire by conquering different territories, different areas. So he won many republics or janpadas of the east. The kingdom of Magadha proposed and flourished during the time of Ajatashatru. He became the follower of Gautam Buddha, and after the Parinirvana of Gautam Buddha, during the rule of Ajatashatru, the famous Buddhist council or Sangati was held at Rajagriha. Patligram became the capital of Magadha, and later it became famous with the name of Patliputra, which is today's Patna city. So, after Ajatashatru, Shishunag became the king of Magadha. He annexed kingdoms of Avanti, Kosala, and Vatsa to Magadha and expanded its territory. So you can say that how kings used to conquer and win one other regions, and they expand or increased their boundaries. In this way, the entire North India came under the control of Magadha. That was how the Magadha Empire took shape. So let's move forward and see Nanda dynasty. So Nanda dynasty, the rulers of Nanda of Magadha ruled between 364 BCE to 324 BCE. Mahapadmananda was the first ruler of this dynasty. Okay. So this Nanda dynasty had set up a good administration system necessary to run a good empire. They had a huge four-column army of infantry, means soldiers on foot, cavalry, soldiers of on horses, chariots, and elephants. So in this way, their army was, administration system was, everything was very strong. The Nandas also introduced the system of weights and measures to measure different things. King Dhanananda, King Dhanananda was the last king of Nanda dynasty, but this time the Magadha empire had extended up to the Punjab in the west during the time of Nanda dynasty. However, during Nanda's reign, or you can say rule, the ambitious youth, a very young ruler, Chandragupta Maurya, won Patliputra, and he ended the Nanda regime or Nanda dynasty and laid the foundation of Maurya Empire. So Chandragupta was a very famous and very powerful Mauryan king. So he ended this Nanda dynasty. So and he kept the foundation of Maurya Empire. And in the next chapter, we will read about the other foreign invasions on the western and northern west frontiers of India during the rise of Maurya Empire. Also, we will read about the Mauryan Empire in great detail. Okay, in the next session. So that's all for today, students. Thank you.